Alrighty then, so I'm back and it's been just a little bit of time, but not too much. And as you can see, the water has dried from this paper, so it is perfectly flat. And that's why we had the tape all the way around it. Okay, so now the next thing I wanted to show you was my water. You see, I have not cleaned the water since I made the painting, and you can see it's pretty clear. You don't have to pollute your water very much. Remember, just when you clean your water off, just a little dip and then onto the paper towel. Also, remember the paints. Don't mix in here because you'll make the paints all ooky. Gosh, especially the yellow, but really all of them. You mix in the tray over here. That's what it's for. And when you get the box of paints, you're going to get it nice and clean, hopefully, right? So you should leave it nice and clean. Cleaning up is just not a big deal. As you can see, a little bit of water in here, a little bit of paper towel, right? And it cleans right up, no problem. Do that for all these guys here and here. Okay, good enough. And you see how easy it was to leave it nice and clean for the next person. Okay, now let's do it for realsies here. So here you can see I've got my drawing that I've made and I've got it taped all the way around here. Remember, tape in parallel, so both sides, top and bottom, either way. Okay. And so then I think what I'll do, thinking about the colors that I'm going to do here, should I do it kind of like a sunset or should I do it like a blue sky? I think a sunset would be kind of more fun. I mean, I think maybe a blue sky would be easier, but I'll just go with the sunset. So I'm thinking about like what colors would work and everything. But in the meantime, here you go. I've got my little wash brush right here. Just any big old soft brush will do. And I'm going to paint this whole thing with a bit of water. Okay, I'm not scrubbing the water in, and I don't need to go over it multiple times or anything. You know, this paper is not totally strong, right? And I don't want to smear my drawing out of existence either. But that was it. Just a little bit of water to get it all sort of wet. Then what I would do is I would start with the colors. Here, I'm just going to put this water up here. Okay. The color that is the lightest. Okay, so I'm going to put my tray right over here. Let's see. Right there. Right there. So anyhow, yes, so my lightest color is what I'm going to start with. So I think I'll go ahead and I'm going to take a little bit of yellow. So my brush is clean. I'm going to go into the yellow, get it nice and wet, and make an area on my tray for yellow. Okay, that's good enough to start. And so I'm going to make a sunset. Let's start with yellow here. And if I get some yellow into the hills, I don't think that's a big deal because the hills would probably maybe be greens or browns or blacks. Any and all of those colors are darker than yellow. If I get a little bit of yellow into the building, I'm not worried about that either. Okay, so I've got a little bit of that yellow into there. Beautiful. I think I'm even going to use my wash brush just to spread that out a little bit. Cool. And since my water is going to be reflecting my sky, I'm going to go ahead and get some yellow in there. Now, I know you might be thinking, wait a minute, but isn't water blue? Okay, here's another thing that you got to think about with painting is you got to get rid of that psychology. Oh, I know. I know. It's so hard. Because we have these images in our minds, these sort of rules that we set up in our minds. Okay, this should still be nice and clean. So, okay, more yellow. You know, that says that this is, grass is green, sky is blue, etc., etc. And I think it's not going to hurt anything to get a little bit of yellow into here. Jesus, yellow everywhere. Okay. Okay, a little bit in here. Just everywhere, everywhere. It's not going to hurt anything. Anything that I want to stay white, though, I'll want to avoid getting color in because the white is as white as it's going to get. I think that these This dock could definitely be yellow, but I think I'll leave underneath the wood of the dock. Maybe I'll make the flotations blue. Maybe I'll do something different with the colors of the boat. So I'll purposely not get those yellow. Now the house, if I was going to make the house white, let's say, that's cool. But I think even a little bit of yellow into there wouldn't be such a bad thing because, it's going to be working and reflecting a little bit of the light that is all around. So a little bit of color into the house, not too much. And as it dries, things will become a little bit lighter. That's okay. And my pencil is smearing a little bit, but that's okay. See, we've drawn with a soft pencil. And so, that's why it's nice and dark, but it's also going to smear a little bit, whatever. If we were doing a watercolor painting, like for real, like this is what we're doing a straight up watercolor, we would probably use a hard lead pencil. And we haven't talked about leads and stuff like that much, but just know that they come in, light or soft and mediums and hards, and so they do different things anyways. But here we go. Here I'm just going to take a little bit of this orange color here to use as a transition, start working that into the sky. Well, let's get more orange than that. And I've got a nice clean brush that I'm working that in. Okay, and you'll notice other than the wash brush, I've only used one brush so far. I was saying that before, that the kids, they tend to use like way too many brushes. Well, I don't even know if they use them. They get them, and then, they sit around and they get them dirty, and I don't know how much they actually use them. I tend to just use very few brushes, maybe oftentimes just one. Maybe it's because I'm lazy, or maybe it's because I'm just wanting to build dexterity with that one brush and seeing how much I can do with just that. So that's pretty cool. I think that I want a little bit less orange here, and while it's still all nice and wet, I could probably take a little bit of paper towel and just take some of that color out. I'll take my wash brush that just had clear water on it. Okay, a little bit there. And my paper is starting to get a little bit stressed here because it's not watercolor paper, it's just drawing paper. So I'm going to want to probably back off on that sky area. Oops, got a little bit of orange into my red. And not get it much wetter. We'll let it dry. Okay, but just a little bit more red first before I do that. So here's a little red. Maybe make a little red area down here. Okay, get a little bit of red into that. Cool. And then I'll be letting that, it will just kind of meld together, and I'm going to let it dry, and that's as wet as I can get it. In the ceramics class, I often talk about building a relationship with the clay, because you really have to think about how far you can stretch it. But it's also kind of true when you're painting, especially with the surface, whatever it is, that the surface that you're working with, the paints that you're working with, how far can you stretch them to do whatever it is that you want them to do before they fail? And here, for instance, if I get this paper any wetter, it's not going to be a good thing, right? Especially up here.